how it is in Texas.
Yeah, I'm a veteran. Look, I'm a veteran to the snow game right now, bro. It ain't a thing to your boy over here. You know what I'm saying?
How long did it take you to shovel out your sidewalk? I was curious
like
when I seen that picture. I was like,
minutes.
oh yeah, hell no.
Korean and I, it took us 30 minutes to shovel. So definitely not something that I'm used to. But she said a neighbor next to us, after I went to work, she had texted me and said a neighbor next to us hired people to come do that for them. So we might do that. They came quick, like, hopped out the car, shoveled it in like 20 minutes and
they got other jobs to do. Yeah, they got other jobs to do. That's what it is. And getting away to them folks making that money. Like Bo Money was saying, we got to make that money.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. You ready, man? I'm already recording. We a minute into this thing. I don't know if you knew I hit the record button.
Oh, no, man. You know,
I always try to.
We veterans in this thing, my boy.
Vets in the game, episode 92 of the Duo Sports and Stuff podcast. My name is Deonte, joined by my ace, my best friend, my guy, the other half of the duo, Dane Beasley. Dane, how you doing, my guy?
Pretty good. All things considered, nice fool. I am very surprised that I'm not like dozing off, but nodding off right now. Just got back from family dinner, mother-in-law's house, threw it down. My uncle-in-law made some pound cake, hooked us up with the recipe. So we're going to try to, make something shake with that. But I ain't gonna lie to you. If you see my eyes getting low, if you see me standing still or sitting still, just scream real quick in my ear and I'll be like, huh? And I'm just say I was praying or something. But yeah.
Word to our listeners, if Dane dozes off on the podcast, I will have to take this thing solo. I will have to wait.
No, just hit one of them buttons and like the wrong button, and then that was surely
on the accident.
Yeah, I was like, hey man, what's that moving behind?
Ended up listening, and she was like, "Oh, that scared me." What y'all have? What y'all have for dinner? I know y'all.
We had man. So I mean, I already said the pound cake had cheesecake, brownies, all homemade, of course. What do we have? Some fried catfish. Had some enchiladas.
Oh, y'all had a
chicken. Yeah, it was a little bit mixed and match. Yeah, man, it was a little bit of everything. Some juice, lemonade juice. We had some rice. It was a bunch of stuff in there. Taco. We had a bunch of stuff in there, but it was good, man. It was really good. Wife packed up a bunch of stuff too. I should have packed up some desserts, but I was being lazy. But we had a good time. There was some karaoke and some games being played. Yeah, karaoke, people, family members getting up singing and stuff. And it was,
What'd you sing?
I ain't sing nothing.
All right, man.
You gotta pay me.
Damn.
No, that's all. The funnest thing for real though. The funnest thing out of the whole gathering was the one of the games that one of his cousins made. He had a giant jar of water, and they had a small cup at the bottom of the giant jar of water, and it was about 25 people. So like the goal was you had to get a dime, you had to drop the dime into the bottle of water and to float into the little cup that's inside the bottle of water.
It's like those games they have at the amusement parks and carnivals.
Yeah, exactly. And it's probably where it stole from. I don't care. But it was $20 on the line. So everybody's like, oh, $20? So every time, it was only won twice. And the reason why I was won twice is the first person won, which was his brother, another relative. He was in front of me. And he, it was only like 5 people that went, and then he went, and so everybody else that was in line was like, "Oh man!" So he was like, "All right, I'm gonna donate the $20 back, and we're gonna throw another round in this. And if everybody loses, I'm gonna win my money back again." So again, everybody hop back in line. Person in front of me, which is my wife's grandma, she ended up winning. I'm like, dang! So everybody that's in front of me, like the person directly in front of me, ended up winning every time. So it was cool. It was very interesting. Very very interesting. But it was fun. Had a great time. Had a great time.
Sound like fun.
Yeah,
that's fun. What I'm excited about. You already know, and if you're really close, you know that Karina and I are heading back home to Texas for Christmas. And so, of course, the family gathering is something I'm going to look forward to. But the food, I'm already putting in my orders for some home. I told my mom, like, Mom, I don't care what you make. I'm going to be happy with anything, like anything. I do expect her to make. I didn't put it in, but I do expect her to make some form of mac and cheese, some form of yams
with the crusted in the corner. Oh, with the yam sitting in the. The yams gonna touch the mac. They gotta touch sweet potato yams. Yams. You gotta get that as one of the drops, bro. You gotta get that as one of the drops.
Sweet potato yams. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Heading out Wednesday night, late night Wednesday to Texas.
Hump day.
Very excited for that. But yeah, episode 92 of the Duo Sports and Stuff podcast. I know last episode, Dan, we started off by talking about Texas high school football and state championship weekend, and those games this weekend were crazy. I want to thank you, first of all, and your mother-in-law for the logins to the Bally Sports app. I may have logged her or you out multiple times trying to watch these games. But man, South Dallas takeover. South Oak Cliff winning, going back to back. DeSoto winning their second title in school history. And the biggest one probably, Dane, is Duncanville and Coach Reginald Samples finally getting the elusive state title
finally getting over the hump.
Yeah, finally after 3 defeats to Galena North Park or North Shore, excuse me. How's the vibe? I know you probably aren't in the streets of Dallas, but just the city. It's probably a good feeling for the city of Dallas and the areas of Dallas, so to speak, South Dallas specifically.
Yeah, just because those areas are so close, but people have, I would bet, I'd be willing to bet there are family members on all 3 of those teams, right? Just how close knit and then proximity those campuses are. But man, I was so excited, so glad just to see them get the dub. North Shore has been a powerhouse. They both have. You have to be very consistent. You have to be very tough, and you have to have the athletes to come back to the state championship over and over and over and over again so many times in just 5 short years. So to see them finally, beat this opponent was pretty good. Priceless. See, the looks on some of these guys' faces, and for the most part, a send-off for this particular coach who, of course, has crossed over that threshold of, 300 wins some time ago. But to get this one etched in there in the history books was super, super dope to watch. And then just seeing all the alumni and, follow on Twitter or the social medias that happen to be, have graduated from one of those 3 schools is super awesome. Right. But for the most part, bro, anybody that is in the area, the DFW area, and I would say just Dallas, but the DFW area I think is really happy and excited for either of those 3 schools just because of what it took to get to that point. So it was cool, man. I was very excited.
It's an awesome story, especially for that particular part of Dallas. South Oak Cliff specifically, this is their second in a row, but South Oak Cliff isn't known for having the best of resources as far as money is concerned compared to the Highland Parks and things of that nature in the high school world. If you're from Texas, you know what we're talking about. DeSoto has always been known as a powerhouse, but they don't, I wouldn't say necessarily there's a lot of people, I guess the best way to put this, not rooting for these particular people to win a state title and dominate DFW. I saw a lot of talk on Twitter about the refs and wanting these guys to come out on top, but it's always going to be the naysayers and the haters and people that have their opinions on things. But very happy for South Oak Cliff, DeSoto, Duncanville specifically for coming out on top. But it's a great thing to see for that area of Dallas specifically, compared to the more wealthy districts in schools, so to speak.
And the more well-known teams in the area, professional or high school.
Professional or high school, man. But
I'll leave that comment where it goes.
Shout out to those 3 schools, man. But dang, this was probably the craziest sports weekend that I've witnessed on the couch in a very long time, man. And we'll just start in NFL. Saturday, that game was actually a noon Central kickoff.
Yeah, it should have been a night game based on the way it ended.
Yeah, Colts Vikings.
No expectations for that whatsoever.
Just the fighting, out there. The fighting, no expectations. You just got NFL on a Saturday. This is how. I mean, it's the first Saturday game of the NFL this season. Usually come around during the holidays, that kind of thing. Colts, Vikings, the fighting Jeff Saturdays against Kirk Cousins and the neighborhood, Justin Jefferson. 33-0 at the half. Colts up, right? I tweeted the Vikings are fraudulent. That was my tweet.
Oh, buddy. Cold takes exposed.
Cold takes exposed. The Vikings are fraudulent. The Colts were up 33-0 at the half. But Dane, who is the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts?
Is it Matty Ice?
Yes. Has he lost the lead before?
It's probably, I don't know, nothing we can remember. I wouldn't say anything in particular, not even the Super Bowl if I'm mistaken. But let's just say in the perfect little world, there's possibility maybe they did go to Super Bowl. Maybe a lot of Atlanta Falcons fans might want to forget, but for the sake of imagination, let's say that he had a super huge lead versus, I don't know, another NFL team. Let's say Patriots in this case. Would it be a fair imaginated matchup?
33-0. And the Vikings came back to win 39-36 in overtime. I don't even know how to describe this game. If you didn't see it go down like live as it happened, it was like, okay, you look at the score at one point, it was 36-21, and it was like halfway through the third quarter, and then you look up and the Vikings are like a score behind, and the Colts are just snowballing downhill from that point. And
it's bad.
I don't know if you did you watch this live or were you just following along?
I watched part of the game because I was watching some of the state championship games at the same time.
Okay.
But when it started getting out of hand by 3 or 4 scores, okay, this might be over with. And then just looking at you want to have something very fun to do, look at the win probability as the game progresses, and you can see it like go in the Colts' favor, and it's like way up here, and it's way off the screen, and then slowly but surely that mug comes right back down.
I'm looking at it right now, Dane. So look at the highest win probability for the Colts was at
third quarter somewhere.
Was obviously it was at halftime it was 33-0, so that was 98.8% at the half. 98.8% at the half.
Wow.
And about it's still 97% in the third.
Let me see.
All the way up until the biggest drop is from 95 to 57% when the Colts cut the lead, when the Vikings cut the lead to 1 score. But I've never seen anything like that until, or craziness, so to speak, until the games that occurred on Sunday night. But I'll get to that in a second. Who's the okay? I'm gonna give you a question
that they always loser of the game.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna give you the question that they always say on the sports shows.
Okay.
Did the Colts lose this game, or did the Vikings win this game? By the way, if you don't know, it's the largest comeback in Super Bowl history. 33 points.
I love to give a really ambiguous answer right now for the sake of entertainment. But yeah, it's got to be the Colts. But I mean, based on everything we've seen up to this point, it's been a lost season for them anyways. When the way that the head coach has been hired, the way that they possibly can't have any type of long-term commitments to their quarterback, and just flat out getting embarrassed like that. So many unanswered points.
To Kirk Cousins, bro. I think everybody in the league knows how we feel, how everyone has the same feeling, so to speak, about Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
I think his numbers, great numbers if you're a fantasy, if you own him in fantasy, 34, 54, 460, 4 touchdowns. Obviously, he's passing almost every down in the second half. I'm not a believer in Kirk Cousins. You let Kirk Cousins come back from 33 points down to beat you. You don't deserve it. You lost the game, right? I kind of agree with you on that. Like, I'm not letting Kirk Cousins do that on me. I don't care if the Vikings have won 10 games this year. Yeah, but the Colts, you know, everything you mentioned about how their season has gone, in a nutshell, is that game. Like, you know, they hired Jeff Saturday out the blue, and there was a lot of discussion about that. But this is a team in the Colts that I won't say lacks leadership, but they just lack. I just say like the ability to. I mean, obviously finish games, but
facts.
Believe in themselves. I mean, they're up 33-0 and you can't finish the job. Like, what other excuses there is another that you can't finish, right?
I hope it doesn't lose the locker room though. Losing like that's a great surefire way to just lose everyone's ability to believe, not only you as a leader, but also their abilities to go out there and have a sense of pride, because that's got to be.
When they hired Jeff Saturday, when he hired Jeff Saturday after firing Frank Reich middle of the season, did you believe that they were hiring Jeff Saturday just for the rest of the season or post-season as well? Like, not post-season,
I have two thoughts. I have two thoughts about it. My first thought, after I found out, because I thought for whatever reason he had some sort of, he was like maybe a consultant for the team or something like that, some sort of advisory role. I thought it was just getting his feet in the door, or getting his foot in the door so that he can, I don't know, be an all offensive line coach somewhere or something like that. But then my second thought was, this has got to be a tank job. After getting all the facts, all the, opportunities that could have been extended to other reputable NFL coaches or coaches with NFL experience, and they go with that guy, I was like, yeah, has to be one giant tank job. So I didn't take it seriously. And obviously I'm just a fan, not a fan of the coach, but just a fan in general. So I hope it's not a slap in the face of the players. But at this point, they've got to see at some point, between being up 33 points and then, of course, losing that game, that this is I wouldn't say it as a joke, some sort of a joke of a team, but you got to question the leadership and question the capabilities or the credibility of this coach.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done from where we're sitting at, but at the same time, like, these are careers that are at least 22 careers that we're seeing.
And that's a whole another story. Like, his not having any coaching experience on any level and then getting the head coaching position at with the Indianapolis Colts. But it's another story. So the Colts, obviously, they gave up the largest lead in NFL history. They take the L there, but Sunday's slate of games, Dane, every game ended in a one-score fashion. The only two games that did not, the Bengals beat the Bucks 34-23. The Broncos beat the Cardinals 24-15. Those were both, the Broncos-Cardinals game, that's 9 points. Bengals, Bucks, 11 points. All the other games were one-score games. And I can't start with any other game besides, obviously, the ending to the Raiders-Patriots game.
That did not expect it to go that way, because I wasn't watching that particular game. I think we were still watching the Buccaneers game, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe we were playing some trivia, or not trivia games. We were playing some games in my mother-in-law's house. But I was like, okay, they about to the fumble Rooski, and they're gonna get it for a touchdown. And then I saw what I was like, okay, I'm happy for the Raiders. Like, good job, guys. But it just was, a win is a win, obviously.
The wildest play I've ever seen in my life. For those that don't know, for those that missed the game somehow, some way, you've probably seen a million highlights by now if you watch SportsCenter or any other sports show. It is 24-24. The Raiders just tied it up on a long pass to Keenan Cole from Derek Carr, like a 50-yard touchdown pass to make it 24-24 with like 30 seconds left or something like that. So, obviously, if you watch football for a number of years, what teams usually do with 30 or so seconds. Actually, I think they had 50 seconds and one timeout.
Mm-hmm.
I know for the most part, you've seen teams go down the field, or if they try to go down the field, they get a first down, they call a timeout, so on and so forth.
Right.
They ended up getting one first down, I believe, and called a timeout. It ended up being like 3 seconds on the clock. So they run a run play with Ramondre Stevenson. He breaks it open for like a 20-yard gain, and he's running towards the sidelines, and he's like, hey, man, let me just try to make a play. Laterals it back to Jacoby Myers.
Fail.
And Jacoby Myers like, hey, man, let me try to make a play. Mind you guys, it is 24. The game is tied. Like, you get tackled, you're going in overtime, you have a chance to, win it in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Jacoby Myers said, nah, man, I'm trying to make a play. He laterals it back, like chunks it Music City Miracle style back like 20 yards to not a lineman, not a running back, not another receiver, to Mac Jones. Mac Jones is not alone. Chandler Jones is next to Mac Jones. The problem is Chandler Jones is the outside linebacker for the Las Vegas Raiders. Chandler Jones is gifted the ball.
Gift wrap.
Because Jacoby Myers is like, somebody's down there. But it was Mac Jones, but it was also Chandler Jones.
My teammate is over there somewhere.
Chandler Jones catches it.
Keeping up with
gives the meanest stiff arm to Mac Jones.
It was
Mac
bad.
Jones is put on a poster, like the meanest.
Not as bad as Tavares Jackson, but it was really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
I know if you watch or if you watch sports, you've seen this probably 1,000 times now. I had to rewind it a couple times to see it. Stiff arm Mac Jones and runs it 50 yards in for a walk-off touchdown for the Raiders.
Stiff arming would be putting it nicely.
Yeah,
that man should be illegal. Yes, be illegal in so many states. Yes,
did he baptize him?
Yes.
Mind you, nobody really likes the Patriots anyway, so I wasn't.
I wasn't mad about it.
I will say, our buddy Mark, his brother plays for the Patriots, Marcus Jones, who has been balling out for the Patriots. But
facts,
I've never seen a play like that before, ever. I don't know. I haven't listened to any post game with Jacoby Myers yet. I'm sure he's frustrated and terrible about making that play, and people are talking about it on social media, but that is unexplainable. I don't understand what I guess he's just trying to make a play, but just play for overtime, man. Just play for OT. So yeah, the Raiders won that one. They won 30-24. Yeah, there were a crazy number of close games. Dane, how you feel about your boys today?
Well, as you can see, back here on my desk, there is no Cowboys helmet.
I do not see it.
I am disgusted. Mind you, last week's episode, Cowboys won, and the helmet was not back there. It started out back there, and I explained myself why I took it away. But you can't expect to show up to a team that is historically bad and expect to beat them just because the paper says so. And the worst part about it is I still don't think, if I'm remembering this correctly, we have not won in Jacksonville yet, if I'm not mistaken.
I saw that tweet.
Yeah. So I saw that a few days ago, leading up to it, on one of the Dallas Cowboys related podcasts. I'm like, dang, we really? And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. Because the last time we beat them, or home game, it was over in London. It was like 2014, I think. It was maybe 2013. Dez had like a really monster game, or just a monster year in general. I think he had an all-pro year that year. Anyways, we haven't beat those boys at their home. So we traveled all the way over there to the beautiful state and played with our food, because there was a point in time where the game should have and could have been put away. But at some point in time, between the first whistle and the last whistle, every single player not named CeeDee Lamb, Jaron Kearse, and Donovan Wilson played piss poor. Again, there were flashes from players that we expect to have good games in situations like this, or expect to be consistent. But outside of those three players, I saw a lot of garbage from one point or another. But honestly, there's a lot of trolling going on, and it's deservedly so. That's just standard. Anytime you lose like that, that's standard. Yeah, people getting on here online defending, this shouldn't be Dak's fault. This interception is off the receiver's hands. Like, dude, it's a joke. I thought it was funny. People making fun of it the way that they have been about it, but it just goes back to people thinking that this particular quarterback is above criticism, unfortunately. But he had a pretty bad game. Don't
let the box score fool you. When he plays, everything is so difficult for him.
Everything. It's like way more difficult than what it has to be. And I don't know if that's a combination of him not trusting himself or his footwork or just the play calling or what. Yeah. But it's just like,
I didn't watch the game from start to finish, but when I do watch Dak, like every throw seems tough for him to make. Not to say he can't make the throw. You know how you watch quarterbacks and it looks easy to them? Like, man, that boy looked like he's been doing this for years. Like,
my thing is a processing and footwork thing. I don't know what it is, because he started off the game fine. He was, I think, by halftime, it was like maybe one or two incomplete passes, if I remember correctly. But he started off the game fine, and it went downhill trying to do too much. But they, from top to bottom, defense, I can't say they got exposed, but for lack of a better word, they got exposed. Dan Quinn at the helm. Obviously, you have a bunch of injuries that takes a toll on the outcome of the starting lineup of your defense, but that's no mistake, or that's no excuse. Next man up. You guys want to be up in the media, on the microphone, saying rah this and rah that,
all up in the videos,
and haven't backed it up. Like, we haven't seen that impressive drive versus a reputable team by our defense yet. Same goes with the offense. The defense did what they're supposed to do. Right. They held their own. They forced plenty of 2 or 3 turnovers, and offense just couldn't get it done. But again, they put up 500 yards on the defense, which is unacceptable, and that's not playoff football. Disappointed, but not surprised. Let me say that. Disappointed, but not surprised. Yeah. So,
and with the Eagles win today, that separates y'all from the Eagles a little bit in that division, but you do play Philadelphia coming up next, so there is hope.
Yeah, I think the division's gone. The division's gone. It's spoken for. The only way they could have won the division, I think, if the Eagles Eagles lost today and lost the rest of their games, essentially. Yep. But fortunately for a lot of optimists out there, a lot of unrealistic Cowboys fans, the Cowboys more than likely will make the playoffs. All they need to clinch is Washington winning somehow today, or Cowboys winning out the rest of the games, or a combination of games. 1 or 2 games, I think they need.
The Cowboys sit at the 5 seed right now, 10-4. Right. Of course, the Bucs in that NFC South leading division, 6-8. They will, if they ended up winning the division, they'll host a playoff game, 4 seed. In the hunt right now, on the outside looking in the NFC. Seahawks at 7-7. Lions, I love the Lions and how they're playing. I mentioned them last week on the pod, Dane. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah. The team that excites me the most, you want to guess?
Hey.
Yeah.
Boys playing.
I don't trust Garrett. I'm gonna call him Garrett Goff.
And he didn't
I don't trust Garrett Goff.
He didn't have the best game, but he went up against the Jets defense and managed the game, right? He didn't lose it for him, and he had a big drive towards the end of the game to go take the field goal. Hey, I'm just saying, the Lions at 7-7 and have a chance to make the playoffs. That's a good job by Dan Campbell and that staff. And right now, as we are recording, Washington and the Giants are playing. I think it's 14-10. The Giants are up. and they have those two last spots in the NFC right now. And then on the AFC side, the Bills are the 1 seed, Chiefs are the 2 seed, the Bengals 3, followed by the Titans, Ravens, Chargers, and Dolphins. And then a lot of teams are jumbled up right there on the bubble. But that is where we stand in NFL right now.
Because you see, who you think you are is entirely dependent on who people have told you are. You're not that.
Dane, we decided to come up with a segment talking about the quarterbacks in the league. We're calling it right now, the name is could be changed, but right now we're calling it the CEO Way Out
review. Pending review.
Pending review is where we talk about quarterback play or specific quarterbacks that, you know, we think teams should move on from after this season.
Possible.
Before Saturday, actually, I think we were midway through the Colts-Vikings game when we had Kirk Cousins on the list. I still have Kirk Cousins on that list.
Cold takes exposed. So,
go ahead.
Listen, I'm gonna be 100% honest and transparent. Your boy, when I thought about that list, I was like, the first person that came to mind for me was Kirk Cousins, and that was when the game was like 14-0. No, not 14-0. It might have been 14-0, but it had nothing to do with his play on Saturday for me. It had nothing to do with his play on Saturday. Just the ability to will your team to win or make the right throws or command the offense the way I've seen you do it before when you were in the NFC East. Just haven't seen that magic. And, of course, I'm putting my foot in my mouth here. That comeback, it kind of makes me second guess his name being on there. But then again, we'll know everything we need to know by the next game. The next game, we know if the real Kirk Cousins is here or whoever this person is. But, I mean, obviously, a lot of people don't respect the game, and I get it. But for some odd reason, he just sometimes the dude flips a switch.
I'm going to ask this question to Dane and our listeners of the podcast. Super Bowl winning quarterback Kirk Cousins. Can you ever imagine that in your lifetime?
No.
Can you say Kirk Cousins can go win me a Super Bowl?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think you can. I will give a slight thought about it if the Vikings defense was playing as well as they used to play. Maybe if Kirk Cousins can manage a game, but I'm not. I mean, I know you got Justin Jefferson on the side. You got Dalvin Cook in the backfield. I don't trust Kirk Cousins, man. I don't trust him. He had a great game in the second half yesterday. Look at that first half.
Empty calorie stats.
Look at that first half, man. I don't trust Kirk Cousins, bro. I can't do it. I can't trust the cuz. Can't trust the fam.
Cuz what?
I just don't see it. Like, Kirk Cousins is so inconsistent to me. Watching him play, and you have Justin Jefferson on the outside. Obviously, that's gonna pad your stats tremendously. And they'll make the playoffs this year at 11, and right now they're the 2 seed, 11-3. I think they lose their first round game. Whoever they play in that first round, whoever goes, they're gonna lose that game. That's my prediction. Kirk Cousins, to me, Captain Kirk, I just don't trust him. That's my argument.
No, you don't have to.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you first. You first, brother.
No, I was just going to say, he's just too inconsistent to me. This year, let's look at the stats for this year. completing 65% of his passes. That's good. 24 touchdowns, 11 picks. That's not bad. Primetime Kirk Cousins. I don't have those stats in front of me, but I just don't trust him, bro. That's my argument. That's it.
Okay. I'd say moving along, but it was my idea to put Kirk on there. So Kirk, you put up a stinker in that first half. So it's nothing personal. Again, it wasn't based on the way you played on Saturday. It's more so just recently this year. But I mean, with all due respect, Deonte, I think the next guy deserves to be on this list. What do you think?
Yeah. Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, it's time to go home and be a family man. The two biggest comebacks in recent memory, you're on the opposite end of those.
So it's his fault he's not out there rushing the passer or, covering man-to-man outside on, the go route?
That part's not his fault, but it's his fault on the other side. Get close.
You're saying it's not a coincidence. Shouldn't be a coincidence. Your name is etched in history both times.
Both times, man. And the jokes flew on Saturday evening, Saturday afternoon. Matty Ice, I think we've seen it for the last 2, 3, maybe 4 seasons of Matt Ryan. I won't say 4, but at least the last 2 seasons of Matt Ryan. I'm going to check out his stats. This year, Matt Ryan is completing 67% of his passes, which isn't bad. 14 touchdowns, 13 picks. That is not ideal. Last year, he went 20 touchdowns, 12 picks. Year before, 26 touchdowns, 11 picks. Matty Ice is Dunsky for me.
Cooked,
37 years old.
Sounded like he passed away or something. Man,
See your way out. See your way out.
Yeah, see your way out, G.
The next one, Dane, you put on this.
Yeah, I did. Did I put Tanny? Oh, no, I put the other guy. Yeah, but the interesting thing about this one is I wanted to have a realistic discussion about, is there a possible out with this contract, and if so, when? Would your team? Do you think, based on your team being as aggressive as they were with acquiring him, would they be just as aggressive acquiring his replacement? What do I mean by that?
We're talking about Russell Wilson, by the way.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Let me set that up properly. Broncos country. That's right. We're talking about that man. Russ Wilson, Dangerous, Mr. Unlimited. That guy. As aggressive as the front office was at acquiring this young man, 1, 2-part. Is it too soon to consider moving on from this guy and moving in such an aggressive manner? And 2, is this upcoming draft in 2023, is it too soon to consider his replacement? And I guess that's answering the first question will automatically answer the second question, but for the sake of so many talented quarterbacks will be available. Oh, that's right. Never mind. Unless some sort of trade and stuff like that happens, it's probably out of the question for you guys. Never mind. Forget about that second part. First question. Would your team be too wrong if they go about being aggressive acquiring his replacement very soon?
I say no. It's 1 year. I've been obviously a harsh critic with all the hype coming in with Russell Wilson this season. I was number 1. Dane talked about it on the last episode, how hype I was, and anybody was that was a Broncos fan coming into the season. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, as far as being on the other side. It's 1 year. Injuries happen, right? And we always say next man up. This particular situation, injuries happen for us on the offensive side of the ball. As of November 18th, so about a month ago, we've had like maybe 5 or 6 since then. We had 14 players on injured reserve, tied for the most in the NFL. Okay. And they could have been anybody, right? They could have been the 3rd string players, 4th string players. But those 14 players that were on injured reserve for the Denver Broncos accounted for $55 million of our salary cap space, which means what? They're probably our best players, right?
More than likely. Do you have something contrary to this?
Let me name them.
Say them names, D.
Tim Patrick, who is expected to be a main target for Russell Wilson this season.
The guy.
Javonte Williams, starting running back who went crazy in his rookie year last year.
Was going dumb.
Starting left tackle Garrett Bowles, who obviously would have been protecting Russell Wilson's blind side. He had some rough moments in his career, but last year was his best with Denver. He started strong this season, and right when he went down is where you see the offensive line for the Broncos start to be bad, right? On the defense side of the ball, although our defense has been top 5 this season, despite the record, Ronald Darby. We just got Randy Gregory back this week. He played today. Billy Turner, who was our other offensive tackle, out for the season. Our starting center, Lloyd Cushenberry. So that's 3 offensive linemen that's supposed to be protecting Russell Wilson gone. Caden Stearns on the defensive side. Our second string running back, Mike Boone. One of our backup running backs, Demario Crockett. So that's just to name a few. That was about a month ago, Dane. We've had a lot of injuries since then. Jerry Jeudy has been injured throughout the season. KJ Hamler, big time target.
Let's talk about that guy, Jerry Jeudy. What the hell was up with him last game?
Yeah, he got fined for that. He should have got kicked out the game too.
Yeah, I was like, I thought that's an automatic ejection.
It should have been. But that's my argument for Russell Wilson, Dane. Although, of course, like I mentioned, people say next man up, but having 14 guys out, and it's probably up to 20 by now, that's a significant part of your team that are expected to be big contributors for the season, especially with the offensive line not protecting Russ. We've seen that last week, although when he got hurt, it was because he decided to run and get hit. But he took a lot of...
You're victim blaming now. Is that what you're doing?
No. He took a lot of sacks this season, so I'm going to hold off on Russ on the see you out segment.
Dangerous. Okay, I respect that. Next guy, Ryan Tannehill. I know that's not how you say. That's not how he says that, but it just sounds better. Tannehill.
I've always thought that the Titans were a quarterback away. Derrick Henry last year was a big part of our offense getting them to the playoffs, but
pretty much every year.
The Titans, the Titans' philosophy is really, run the ball and play great defense. So Tannehill really is in a game management kind of role with the Titans, but I feel like if they got somebody
push the ball downfield
that can kind of be a threat. Well, they did trade away a receiver that helped with.
Interesting. Stupid. These teams that are seeking playoff spots, trading away their number one receiver, and now they're struggling.
Not ideal. Not ideal.
Seeing some consistencies here. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Proceed.
Ryan Tannehill is not a terrible quarterback. He's an average quarterback.
Does he move the needle?
No, not for this team.
Hey, you're out of there.
Especially,
get him out of here.
Like you mentioned, if you get rid of a receiver like AJ Brown, right, with a quarterback like Tannehill, I think that just makes it worse for him and worse for your situation at quarterback. I think Titans won't have a top pick this year in the draft. I'm not sure who would be free agent quarterbacks right now.
They got Bobby Trees this year, right?
Who?
Bobby Trees, a.k.a. Robert Woods.
Yes.
Okay.
You have Robert Woods.
I know he's like a year away from being a better version of himself.
And they drafted Burks from Arkansas. He's been pretty good this year for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think trading away your best receiver that was a big part of the offense. It's not ideal.
Dumb.
And that's not Tannehill's fault, but Tannehill is not the quarterback you want to be in that position. That makes sense. Especially like if you get in the playoff season where everybody's going to be keying in on Derrick Henry. You got to be able to move the ball down the field through the air.
Playoffs. And last but certainly not least, the one, the only, Derek Carr.
Now, the Broncos are division rivals with the Raiders, right?
Right.
We haven't beat the Raiders in like 4 years, and I still want Derek. Well, let me put it like this: I want Derek Carr to stay,
take advantage.
even though they have beaten us. We've just been so bad, but Derek Carr is not good, bro. He's a great guy. He seems like a great guy in interviews and, with his faith and things like that. He's not that guy.
You're not that guy, Pop. You're not that guy.
He has his best friend and best receiver in the league, Devontae Adams, and some of the decisions that Derek Carr makes just makes no sense to me. Through a pick six, I feel like he's thrown a couple of those this season. Dane, what do you think about Derek Carr? Do you think he's that guy?
I think he's cooked. I fully expected him to be an even better, more aggressive version than he already was, with the addition of one, I think is one of the best 3 receivers in the league, Mr. Adams, formerly of the Packers of Green Bay. But it's looking like much of the same thing before he got there. Derek has shown plenty of times. You know what I'm saying? It's like I know him on a first name basis. Oh yeah, Derek, me and him go way back. We call him D where I'm from. Anywho, Derek, sorry, brother. But from what we've seen, there might be better quarterbacks out there that they can make a run. And the Raiders, they need something to take the focus off of just how bad they are, and making a splash at quarterback would be an option. I'm not sure what their contract looks like if they have an out with Derek. Yeah. But something needs to happen. Something needs to happen soon.
Let me look at Derek Carr's numbers, man.
Yeah, look at the sport track.
This year's 20 touchdowns, 10 picks. Last year, he threw 23 touchdowns, 14 picks, 4,800 yards passing. No, I just think they've been in that kind of predicament the past few years with Derek Carr. Is he that guy to lead them? I know he made the playoffs.
Not that guy, pal. You're not that guy.
But I think I don't know who you go after that's better than Derek Carr that's available. I mean, you're not going to have a top 10 pick in the draft to go after a CJ Stroud or a Bryce Young, obviously. Do you kind of wait another year and see if that happens? But I don't think Derek Carr is that guy for them.
Yeah. I might give them a bridge quarterback. This is similar to what I think that the Falcons did by getting Marcus Mariota. That seemed like a bridge quarterback written all over it. But who knows? But it's time for them to make a move.
Yeah. We'll definitely see what happens in the season with those teams. Out of those guys, Kirk is heading to the playoffs. Titans are holding the AFC South lead right now. Raiders are fighting to make it in. So we'll see what they do in the playoffs. But those are the quarterbacks Dane and I have targeted that could definitely be on their way out or should be on their way out. And also this weekend, Dane, there was so much sports going on, like we mentioned. Deion Sanders' last game at Jackson State, the Celebration Bowl, the HBCU National Championship game. Jackson State going against North Carolina Central in Atlanta. Game winning overtime was another great game. Shador played incredible. And Colorado is getting a good one also with Shador, and Shiloh also entered the portal. I don't know if you saw that after the game.
I thought he was in the doghouse. I didn't know his pops was going to let him leave.
Well, he didn't want to leave. Shiloh didn't want. He was mad about his dad taking that job. But he and Shador both entered the portal after the game. But Jackson State lost that game, Dane, 41-34. And we won't talk about this long because we talked about our Deion We gave our Deion thoughts last week, but the one question I will ask is, do you think his loss kind of, like them not being able to finish the job and go undefeated, do you think that kind of changes the outlook on what he did for Jackson State, like this not being a successful season?
I don't think their success of their season should be summed up by what happened and, just by a few plays during that game. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we would have liked to see him win the game just for the storyline and just to send the dramatic send off and say, I left it all out on the field. I coached my best game possible. We would have loved to see that. However, in reality, there is another team with 22 other starters that want the same exact thing. They want to win too. But if anything, if I had to say something like a one-liner or something poetic, I'd say, if anything, this is a foreshadowing of what is to come at Colorado. You might have all the horses you possibly need. You might have the best coaching staff or a better coaching staff, but there's another guy on the other side of that team, on the other side of the opponent, that wants it a little bit more than you do. And sometimes that's what happens.
Yeah.
But foreshadowing more than anything. Difficult game. Just how, and of course at the arm of Shador, like seeing all those moon balls driving, it reminds me of a young Russ. Not the way his play style is, because they're two different kinds of players, but the moon ball is, throws the ball straight up and they come straight down right into the receiver's hands. It reminds me of Russ a little bit, old Russ, not cooked Russ. But seeing them chase back and come back the way that they did and just not give up and lose the way they did is difficult. It's frustrating as a player or a former player, but also knowing that they didn't give up and they threw it on their all, put on their all for their, head coach that's leaving. So those are my thoughts.
I agree with you. I think it's still seen as successful. Not having that storybook ending kind of changes it a bit, but I think Jackson State going into that game, I think they were 14-point favorites, which I thought was kind of crazy.
Excessive.
Seeing everything that was on the line, and North Carolina State had a good score. I think they only had 2 close losses this year. But that 14-point spread, so to speak,
disrespectful,
was very disrespectful. I feel like those games are always close, and that was something to kind of look to and kind of see as something that probably wouldn't have went that way to go to, so to speak. But like you were saying, Colorado is getting a good one. And they played TCU week 1, which we had mentioned again last year, and Nebraska week 2.
A walk in the park.
It's not going to be a walk in the park for those guys. But yeah, of course, Dane, we are in bowl season. And listeners, we probably won't be back on until the new year. So Dane and I are going to give. We probably won't be back.
I'm just kidding.
For the new year. So Dane and I are going to give our.
I'm going on vacation. I'm going to hang out with Santa at the North Pole, man. We're kicking it with the elves, making toys and all that.
Should we do like New Year's 6 bowl picks, or just pick the bowls from now?
Let's go with the 6.
Okay, let's go with 6. Okay,
we might be here all day if we try to pick all of them.
You're right. We're just gonna go with the New Year's 6 bowl predictions here, and I think I'll make a graphic out of this one too. Like, I love making graphics. See if our listeners agree with us.
Okay. Or disagree. Fight us. Let's fight.
Yes.
I'm throwing some hands. Digital hands.
The first New Year's 6 bowl.
Pull up my list.
Tennessee, Dane, in the Orange Bowl, Capital One Orange Bowl, Friday, December 30th. Number 6, Tennessee. Number 7, Clemson in Florida.
I'm going to go with the only 10 that I see. I'm going with Tennessee on that one. I'm going with the Volunteers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I want to see some shake with the Volunteers. So they got a taste in their mouth. I know there might be down a few players, a few top 5 picks in some places. A lot. Yeah, so I'm gonna go at the 10 I see.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna go Clemson, man.
Bold of me, I know, but
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Clemson. Of course, DJ Uyunglele has entered the transfer portal, and Cade Klubnik is the starter now. Cade Klubnik
he made that name up. He made his name up.
Made up. I'm a roll with Clemson. Cabe seems like he is ready to control and take this team to new heights. I think Clemson will be back.
He's a Texas kid, right?
Yes, he went to Westlake.
Okay. That's right.
I think this will be a huge test for him, obviously, going against Tennessee. And I think they prevail. And I think he's going to put the nation on notice this game and start out as a Heisman dark horse next season.
Oh, nope. I got a better Heisman dark horse than that guy. But we'll get to that later.
Okay. So this is where we first disagree. I love it. Dane's going Tennessee. I'm going Clemson. Next game up, Dane, All-State Sugar Bowl, Saturday, December 31st. Alabama and the Big 12 champions, Kansas State in New Orleans.
JB3, my brother, I hope you're listening loud and clear. Your Kansas State squad about to get smacked. I'm sorry, it's a 12 o'clock game too, or no?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but this game's going to be over very soon, very quick. It might be a little bit of a war in the trenches, but skill players, K-State don't got the horses to keep up with Bama got. I'm going with Bama.
I think Kansas State would have had a chance if we saw a lot of Bama players do the I'm not going to play in the bowl game, I'm going to the draft kind of thing. But Bryce Young said he playing. Will Anderson said he playing. Nick Saban is coaching. I think Alabama's going to be mighty pissed. Kansas State, great season, Big 12 champs. Hang your hat on that, but you will lose this game, my friend. Pretty big. I got Alabama by 2 scores, by 14. Sorry, JB3.
And he be out here know he got himself into. Next. Switch.
All right, Dave. We got the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Monday, January 2nd. Tulane versus USC.
Sorry, Willie Fritz, but USC, I think they might have this one in the bag. Willie was a coach over at Sam Houston during my tenure there. Awesome coach, and I'm happy that he is in the place that he's in. It might be a close game, but I would not be surprised if USC decides to open up the can. But I'm going with the 2024 first overall pick in this competition.
Okay.
Back to you.
Going with USC, man. I agree with you. I think the Tulane's defense is not terrible. But USC, I think they have too many weapons. I think they're too fast. Caleb Williams, Heisman Trophy winner. Definitely out to prove, a few things after their loss to Utah in the Pac-12 championship.
Leave them fingernails unpainted, brother.
I think, leave. I think this is another one of those games that might be a two touchdown win at least for the winners. I got USC big. Next one, Dane. Rose Bowl, Penn State, Utah, Monday, January 2nd.
Yes, sir. Your boy's going with the Utes. The Utes, shout out to the Utes for doing what they do. And that's proving that even though as being underdogs or being expected to lose games, they come out on top. My dark horse for this game, the one, the only, Jaquindon Jackson, converted.
The Duncanville product.
Yeah, former Duncanville quarterback, now Utah running back. So he had a pretty big game versus USC. They showed out. They did what they needed to do, get them boys out there. I don't know matchup-wise how this might look after the first few drives, but Utah is going to fight into the very end. That's one thing I can't respect about them. They almost beat us. Shoot.
Yeah.
So
great pick, Dane. Stats-wise, these teams look pretty even. Utah scoring 40 points a game. Penn State almost 36 points a game. Defenses are both giving up 18 and 20 respectively. I'm so I don't know where to go with this pick, man. I I'm gonna just go to who I think is the better quarterback. I guess that's the best way to put it. I think Cam Rising is better than Sean Clifford. So I got Utah over Penn State. That's the only way I can decide to pick this one. So I got Utah like you, Dane, on that one. And then those are the
got a
four
good tight end too. They got a good tight end.
Oh yeah, what is his name? Yeah, Kincaid, probably be a first rounder.
Dalton Kincaid, yeah, he's solid.
And the playoff games, Dane. The playoff games.
Playoffs.
The Verbo Fiesta Bowl, Saturday, December 31st. 3 TCU versus Michigan.
How you do that little sign? I'm going with TCU on this one. I'm going with the home team. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it plain and simple.
Why are we agreeing on everything? This is kind of weird.
Well, has nothing to do with my deep hatred of anything associated with blue, anything that's associated with Michigan. But
I think TCU is just on this weird.
They're underdogs. They got something to prove after the way that game versus Kansas State went. So
yeah, like every game where you think they're out, they finally ran out of gas and lost to Kansas State. But there's something about this team. I'm a Baylor guy, and TCU is our biggest rival. You don't want to see them win and succeed, but I don't know, man. I think they surprise the nation and beat Michigan. Because Max Duggan does some incredible Max Duggan things, and I'm just going off straight star power. Not to say Michigan doesn't have any big time guys, but because obviously they're here for a reason. But Blake Corum's out for the year, correct? JJ McCarthy, their quarterback, is a decent quarterback. Michigan's defense has only allowed 13 points per game. I'm saying all these things that should be in favor of Michigan. They're only giving up 85 yards a game. Their defense is one of the best in the nation. TCU,
got that dome.
I don't know, man. I think they just find a way to win somehow, some way. It seems like this team playing under Sonny Dykes is completely different. They have speed on the outside, maybe speed that Michigan hasn't seen before outside of Ohio State. I'm going TCU here as well. And
it's a copycat league.
And so that brings us, Dane, to your boys in the Peach Bowl against Georgia, Ohio State, Georgia. Let's see if you go with your head or your heart
Ohio
here.
State. The Ohio State.
Yeah, right. Whatever.
So
you just muted yourself. Dane has.
And that's my pick.
He muted himself on purpose.
Oh, no. I did not mute myself. I gave my pick. If the podcast equipment didn't catch it, that's not on me.
All right.
But that's my pick, and I'm sticking with it.
That guy. Okay, well, I will tell you my pick.
No, I'm playing. Oh man, I'm going with the Buckeyes, man. I can't not roll with my guys, man.
Okay.
We've had a difficult year. Didn't go the way, or didn't end the way we wanted to, but some might say you could have seen the outcome of that championship game, or not a championship game. It should have been. It was technically a championship game. They saw the writing on the wall weeks before leading up to the Michigan game, just because of the way we weren't finishing games and putting teams away. This is their shot at redemption. This is it. This is the fight of our lives. Okay? For all the marbles. They have nothing else to lose. I said it last week. I'll say it again. You don't get, I might be jinxed. We don't get beat as bad as we did versus Michigan to come out here and do the same exact thing. We don't have to put up a fight, and we have to do the impossible. And that is beat one of the greatest teams that we've seen in the last 5 to 10 years. I'm sorry. It's not the homer in me. It's just for the sake of not agreeing with Deonte.
Wow.
Going with Bulldogs.
Well, sorry, I'm going to go with Georgia.
And you are a hater.
I think it'll be a close game. How about that?
I can respect that.
I'll give you that. I think Georgia, obviously, we've seen them the last year and a half, almost 2 years, played nearly perfect football. They've had some hiccups, obviously, close games, and of course they prevailed. But I think they are on another mission to prove why they're number one in the nation. I think Ohio State obviously has the talent to compete, has the talent to keep this game close, has the talent to make this a one-score game in the fourth quarter. And I think Georgia just makes one more play than Ohio State does on either the offense or defensive side of the ball.
You are a hater.
But I got Georgia in this one. And then that leaves us with the national title game. And I'll go first with this one. Georgia, sure. It'd be in my universe, it'd be Georgia versus TCU. And I'm going to take Georgia in that one as well. I think Georgia defensively would match up well with TCU, as I mentioned before, with the speed aspect of it. TCU, I don't know how close they can keep it, but I think it'll be a competitive game throughout with Georgia prevailing. So I would have Georgia as the national championship, as the national champions.
Well, Deonte, I have nothing to say to that. I was completely blindsided by
me agreeing with you.
That particular matchup, the championship game for all the marbles. I was completely blindsided by that. But since I want to stay wrong with the picks I have, let's call it TCU and Ohio State. And I got the team in purple and black taking it away, getting a natty and getting some respect put on their name. Call me crazy, call me a madman, but this is what great sports and great sports headlines are all about. Wildly stupid predictions, and that's what we're going with here.
Interesting.
I'm not sorry.
Interesting.
To accept oneself completely. And that is, you see, the most difficult thing to do, because we are always trying to get away from ourselves as we are now.
And we could not close this episode without talking about the World Cup. I know we aren't the biggest football fans, obviously, if you've listened to us for these past 91 episodes. I talked about how my soccer knowledge is, as much as I play FIFA, that's how I basically learned the soccer game. But incredible match on Sunday in the World Cup final between Argentina and France. Went into extra time, went into penalty kicks, and Argentina prevails 4-2 on penalty kicks.
What did I say? What did I say?
Dane, you
did I not call it? Did I not call it?
You called it, bro. In that one time when you said that.
But, I got it on wax. I got it on wax. On PS5 wax. Not on
finally
podcast wax.
Getting his very, very evasive World Cup championship to cement his legacy. It's probably the greatest soccer player of all time. And if you're just now watching, I loosely kind of followed during the World Cup or before the World Cup, but I try to watch as many matches as I could. And France, if you didn't know, won the World Cup 4 years ago, led by this youngin, Kylian Mbappe, who scored 3 goals and nearly brought France to he put the country on his back.
He's real good.
Only 23 years old, so he's not going anywhere in time soon.
Nope.
So he has a lot of time to put himself among the top names. But shout out to Argentina, shout out to Messi. Incredible match. All the matches were incredible. If you didn't get to watch, try to catch a couple of YouTube highlights. But I just had to say that before we got out of here. And World Cup coming to the North America, US, Mexico, and Canada in 2026. Definitely try to catch one of those. That should be pretty fun. But that is it. Episode 92, Dane. And like we mentioned in the podcast, this will be our last one before the new year. Dane, anything you want to say to our peeps before we head into 2023?
You know what? Nothing in particular. Y'all be safe. Don't do anything crazy. Make sure you enjoy the company of everyone. You might not get to spend time with people or as long as you want to just because of work or just life gets in the way, but just cherish those moments. We apologize. Man, I'm just going to blame Deonte for not coming up with a superlative at the very beginning of this episode. But if I had to drop one, I'm going to go with James Harrison. One of the most scariest, physically country old man strength players that we've ever seen. And he's just scary, just how fast dudes used to come off the line. But superlative. Yeah. But outside of that, man,
I got you.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Y'all be safe. Make sure if you're eating the macaroni, baked macaroni and cheese and the yams, make sure they touching. And make sure you enjoy the holiday, man. Enjoy the company of your family and your friends. And if you don't, then just listen to this podcast and rock out with us. We'll be your company and your friends and family during that time. So, that's all I got. That's all I got.
Hold it down for you. Yeah, Dane said it. Happy holidays. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your friends. Tell them you love them. Enjoy the quality time with them. All those good things. And we'll see you guys in 2023, Dane. But before we go, what do the YouTube people say?
Hey, man, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button at the bottom, man. Get all the exclusive content, man. Let's go. And that's when they give you 2,752 minutes worth of promotion and bulk and nonsense in only 10 seconds worth of actual content. But you're going to get that here. You're going to get 100,000, million, billion, trillion, thousand minutes of pure content from us without any of the fluff. Maybe a little bit of fluff, but mainly just Broncos related stuff or Cowboys related stuff. That's the fluff that you have to get from us. But outside of that, we're gonna entertain you for 100% of the episode. I got to spit on my computer a little bit. It's nasty. All right, my bad though. But that's it, man. We appreciate you. Hey, man, New Year, new me. Make sure I say that. New Year, new me.
Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us, man. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all those things if you celebrate it. And we'll see y'all in the new year. Peace out.
Yes, sir.
The doo-wop. The doo-wop. The doo-wop. The doo-wop. The doo-wop.